But a new lawsuit filed against Twitter. It accuses the social media company of essentially giving ISIS a loudspeaker for its propaganda and a platform to attract recruits. The lawsuit was filed by a Florida woman, Tamara Fields, whose husband was killed in a shooting last year at a police training center in Jordan.
The exact motives behind the shooting are unclear, but the complaint says that ISIS claimed responsibility. The lawsuit accuses Twitter of providing material support for terrorism and saying this as well. Without Twitter, the explosive growth of ISIS over the last few years into the most feared terrorist group in the world would not have been possible. Joining us now to discuss is Josh Arison. He is the attorney representing Tamara Fields in her lawsuit against Twitter. Josh, thanks so much for coming in. You say that you believe this is the first lawsuit of its kind, really. Tell us more about it. Why take it on? Why do you?
Well, for years, Twitter has knowingly permitted ISIS to use its social network as a tool for spreading extremist propaganda and for raising funds and attracting new recruits. And the role of Twitter in the rise of ISIS over the last few years really can't be exaggerated. Without Twitter, ISIS's dramatic emergence over the last few years into one of the most feared and dangerous terrorist groups in the world would not have been possible. And Twitter was not an innocent bystander in all of this. Twitter has long known that ISIS was using its social network to terrorize, but it's done little to stop it.
You say knowingly allowed. Doesn't Twitter shut down sites that make terrorist threats?
Well, they only shut down Twitter accounts that support ISIS once they've been brought to Twitter's attention, but they don't actively monitor accounts as far as we know. And despite the fact that they've known about these accounts on their network and that critics from the White House and members of Congress and the FBI and politicians like Hillary Clinton have been urging Twitter to do more to keep ISIS off of its social network, it's largely refused to act. And so if you go onto Twitter today, it's pretty easy to find ISIS accounts and tweets and hashtags supporting ISIS. And Twitter even permits terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah to maintain official Twitter accounts. And it is shameful that an American company would knowingly provide this kind of material support to a terrorist organization like Twitter, like ISIS, that openly advocates for the killing of U.S. citizens and other innocent civilians. And so Ms. Fields...
But they shut them down. But again, when it's brought to their attention, they do shut them down.
Well, experts in this field agree that Twitter could and should be doing a lot more, and the technology exists to kick ISIS off of Twitter and to keep them off permanently. But for whatever reason, Twitter has not used that technology.
Do you acknowledge you think this is an uphill battle directly linking the death of Tamara Fields' husband to Twitter? Because a lot of folks say Twitter's the in-between here. Twitter is not responsible here.
Well, Twitter provided material support to ISIS, a terrorist organization. It gave them a powerful communications tool, knowing that they could use it to raise money, which would fund terrorist attacks, and to raise recruits who could go out and commit terrorist attacks. And when you do that, you become responsible for the attacks that they eventually carry out. And we believe that the facts and the law are on our side in this case, and we're confident going forward.